What's up, world, and welcome to our show, Cuzzo Convo. We're your hosts, Renaissance Ronnie
and Mo Lovely. We're here to have an open dialogue about all things Black reality TV, highlighting positivity and giving out real life accountability checks.
So grab your seat and whatever you need, because we about to dig in.
All right, welcome back. Welcome. So we are discussing episode 3 of Love and Marriage, Huntsville. Yes. All right, so let's go ahead and start with our positives. What was our positives this past week's episode?
So the positive that stood out for me was that at least Marceau agreed to meet with Louis to, I guess they're going to try to smooth things over with regards to what happened between them at the reunion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how the episode basically opened up, with Maurice asking Marceau for an apology about this whole Picturegate.
Yes.
And then Martell shows up and kind of explains that he felt like Marceau bullied Louis, which I don't agree, but I mean, the positive is that Marceau did agree to meet up with Louis. So, yeah, that was a positive. How about you?
So a positive for me this week, I would say, would be I love that actually, and though this is not obviously my favorite couple, but I actually love that, like, Tiffany was like, hey, listen, you know, I know Marceau, and because I know him.
Yeah, that was funny. That's the first I've ever heard of this.
Me too. And I was like, wait, they went to school together? And she was just like, you know, that's just not who I know him. And so I was like, interesting. Okay. But I think that obviously Tiffany is starting to see that, hey, you know what, we aren't equals on this show,
right?
And we
need to be friends with these people.
Right, and we got a lot that's against us, so maybe let's go ahead, let's start on a new foot, a new way, to say, listen, what has been said, what has been done, you know. So, you know, I think I did enjoy that she did come to him and try to talk to him about coming. It was a very different conversation, but you know, it's funny because I think that both him and Marceau have
similar.
Yes, yeah. in some ways. So they both have that. You know, there's that men pride, of course. Yeah. That's like, I ain't gonna let nobody you know.
But the difference is Tiffany kind of calms Louis down. She's like, oh, yes. I'm your wife. I'm your wife. Whereas Tisha's just like, okay, Marceau, like, whatever you say.
Yeah.
Hakeem.
Right. So I did actually enjoy that, and her trying to come together. Another, it was a positive, but you know, kind of had the downside to it. It was great to see Martell have, you know, the kids
book signing.
Yeah. And you know, he obviously gathered up some kids to read the book. Yeah. I would love to know more about the book, because it was interesting. It was like the trip to Canada, but I did love hearing his story about, you know, feeling like, he said, you know, I know my mom is here, but you know, we were below the, you know, they were poverty stricken, and so so I love hearing that, you know, that he took this real life experience, and saying, hey, you know, this is something that I ended up doing, and felt good about it, and having my kids alongside me and doing it, etc. So even though it did not go the way in which
he planned
it.
Well, another positive I can think of, though, the wine tasting, with him
and Mama.
Yes, Mama. He has a new wine line coming out.
Yes,
a new line of wines. So that was, you know, good. He's, you know, expanding, and you know, because of course we know him to be in the real estate business,
right?
So he's moving into other things, and you know, I think with the popularity of the show, and you know, them, becoming a celebrity of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
He's building on that, and he's doing the wine thing, a dessert wine, I believe he said.
Mm-hmm.
And him and his mom got together, and she helped him pick out the one that tastes the best. She got a little tipsy in the process.
He said, "Mom, he's not supposed to do it like that." She said, "Well,
I can't help it, son."
Yes.
But so that was a positive.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I would say that those were probably the highlights.
Right. We got one more.
Oh,
I can think of
what?
Kimmy and Maurice are finally going on their honeymoon.
Oh yes. Child, yes, I know how that is. You just get married and then you don't
fall into life.
Right, you just fall into life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't have one. I didn't have a honeymoon. Did you have a honeymoon?
I did, but it was to like Miami, so it was like not a honeymoon. It was a honeymoon, but it was just like, let's just go to
somewhere that weekend.
That's not far, yeah.
Yeah, no, I we haven't had one yet.
And like Kimmy and Maurice, it was gifted to us.
That's
so somebody
nice.
kind of was like, you need to
go on a honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Hopefully we get gifted to something somewhere.
Yes,
But somebody want to gift my husband and I. So because I do, we just haven't yet. Life happened, and though we didn't have a baby until recently, but now we have a baby, and it's like, okay, yeah. So
you need a honeymoon, a baby moon.
I know. I told him that we did go on a cruise before Miles was born.
Okay.
So we kind of had the baby moon. So that was our last little, but yeah. But my mom, I remember my mom saying, she was like, she's like, this trip right here is the honeymoon, whatever. But then we also went to South Africa, so everybody was like, that's y'all's honeymoon. And I'm like, I guess, I don't know. But anyway, we digress.
Right.
So back to the show.
So I mean, pretty much there were a lot of little things that happened during this episode, but I would say the biggest would be the Melody versus Martell. Whose week is it?
Yes.
The book signing debacle.
Go ahead. Share your thoughts first.
So my thoughts are, so there's two sides of this. Mm-hmm. There is the fact that Martell, did schedule the book signing during Melody's week. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess some could argue that he purposely did that. Mm-hmm. I don't think that he purposely did it, but then again, it's Martell, and Martell seems like he's the type that
he likes to provoke.
And he tries his best to put Melody in a negative light. Like, mm-hmm. he harped on the fact that he said she was cheating or whatever,
right? And
that didn't really work.
Yeah. And
so now it's like he's trying to say she's not working with him when it comes to the children. Mm-hmm. So there's that aspect. There's also the point of, Melody could have just extended an olive branch and said, it is my week, and I know me personally, I don't take my children to funerals. So, and I don't know how Melody feels about that, so maybe she's okay with it, but when it's just a lot to explain to small children. So, it could have been an opportunity for her to be like, I don't want to take the kids to a funeral. So maybe I should just let them go ahead with their dad. And, the book is a positive thing. Yeah. So she could have, but, Martell just does things like her mom was saying, like, he tries to control Melody. And so that aspect is just, like I said, it's just two sides of, it's very difficult. At the end of the day, it's not about them, Melody and Martell, it's about the children. Yeah. And so it could have been a more positive. Because now when at some point, they may see the show, and who knows how they may feel about, right. Maybe they might look at their mom like, we could have. And then I felt like I don't know if you felt this way, but I felt a little shade when so how how the whole point, well, kind of their point of them going was to go and read the book with their dad or whatever. And then, you know, earlier in the show, Melody had her daughter reading lines with her, and she was like, doesn't she read so well? And it was like, that felt kind of shady to me. Like, and then, you know, fast forward to later in the show, and they're supposed to be there reading and they're not. So, I mean, it's a tricky situation, but I did appreciate the other Mel and her perspective. What's her name? Melanika, yes. I did appreciate her perspective of, you know, this whole divorce and co-parenting thing being new, and, you know, Melody needs time. And I mean, in so many words, she said, you know, if it was me and you had done the things that you did to me that you did to Melody, I wouldn't bring the kids either. So, and then all those hired extras they had that say, where the babies at? That just rubbed it.
I was like, yeah. So, yes, there's a lot there. One, the first thing I thought of was, because Melnika is Martell's manager.
Yeah.
I did not understand why she was asking him or where the kids, or, you know, because as a manager, I'm thinking that your job is you would know, like, you know.
Because in this instance, it was a business thing.
Yes.
I get you.
So I don't understand what really then is her role as his manager. Is he saying that, hey, you are my manager / assistant, so on some things
more like a booking agent, maybe.
Right, like some things you're going to work on, and there's some things when it comes to this, I'm just going to handle it, or I'm going to deal with it, which then he probably shouldn't, and he should have someone that should handle it, because you know, if you know that y'all are not there like that, then have somebody be the middleman that said, you know, that pretty much is going to come in and be like, listen, I'm not going to ever disrespect you, your family. This is strictly business. And so therefore, hey, here's a upcoming book signing and book reading that Martell is doing for the kids. We know that it is your week. You know,
Did he say, can we switch weeks? Or
right. So that's the thing. Like, I don't understand, if you have a manager, why the manager's role was it just didn't seem to be there.
Well, that would have played into Martell's storyline of making Melody look like she's not a willing participant, like she doesn't want to co-parent.
So yeah, that. And then I also thought that, was it possibly, which again, he could have did something else, but you know, venues have dates. And so when certain venues have dates, it's just like, oh, okay, this is the only date you have available. Well, yeah, because after that, we're booked up until 2-3 months. And he's like, okay, I'm not going to wait 2 or 3 months. Right. Could he have? Yeah, maybe. But probably in the sense of, we're shooting a show, I would like this to be highlighted in the show. Why? One, because it's great marketing. It makes him look good as a dad. But also, shoot, it's like, hey, it's in a sense free marketing.
Right.
Let me go, my babies, help provide for my children and buy a book, right? So I get it, in a sense of like, not forgetting that there's also a show that's being filmed, and that every venue, you know, may say, nope, we don't want this venue on camera, we don't want it filmed here.
Right.
So that's the other, that I also looked at it like that. Lastly, and no, I've never been a divorced woman, so I do know how Martell has made Melody feel. But this is what I will say, is that when it's about the kids, like, I just felt that there should have just been like, you and I can discuss this later, so that in the future this will never happen again. But for our kids, I'm a 100% support. And even if Mel didn't even want to be there and send somebody else, then I think that, or saying, hey, you know what, Martell, you want this? You come and get the kids, you know, whatever. But I don't know. Like, I think it would have completely thrown him off if she would have actually showed up with the children. Because like I said, he was
I think in the back of his mind,
when he
sent that last minute, when he sent that last minute email or whatever saying, this is the date of the book signing. In the back of his mind, he was hoping, I hope she doesn't show up. I want her to be. He kind of wants her to be painted in a bad light, because he's tired of being the only villain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that as well. I can.
So if she would have showed up with those kids, it would have been like, oh, okay, I don't got her right. I don't got her there. Like, I can't say that she ain't trying to work. But, I mean, we see right through you, Martell. I mean, I do.
Yeah, it's hard. I can't call it. It's hard for me to say with a complete, like, I truly believe he did that for, like, I don't know. Like, I do, like, he has a crazy track record. Yes. Don't get me wrong. I truly, but I don't know if, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I believe that he sent, because, and I'm going to tell you the only reason why. Let me tell you the only reason why.
Okay.
If Mel had truly, had been on the up and up, like, from the very beginning of the show, but because there's certain things that are not lining up with other people, I'm just kind of, we don't know if he sent a last minute email. So that's the only thing that's starting to make me, like I said, I'm starting to side eye. Like, I love you, Mel, but at the same time, there's some things that's starting to point out in your character that I'm kind of I'm sitting back like, did he send it last minute? Or did you really get something and we not going to see it? You're not going to show us to be like,
Martell doesn't seem like he would have a problem saying, here's the email I sent and I sent it on this date.
Well,
and this is the proof. Like, Martell, if he really got the receipts, he will show
because we've been still waiting for the receipts of him being like, you text me about he was like, you text me, you sent he's like, I have it, and he has not. We're like, okay, and she's like, well, just bring it up or whatever. So that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. There's a part where I think that Martell is intelligent enough where he's like, I understand this is TV, and I understand at the end, and so I'm going to whatever, and I'm going to entertain, and I'm going just like Marceau. I think that they understand that they're very intelligent black men, and then there's a part of them that's like, but I still, at the end of the day, I gotta remain honorable because I do got kids with this woman. I do got, so I still think that there's that part that separates, like, I'm gonna say this and I'm whatever and I'm a bit, but there's this part that I'm gonna pull back a little bit because at the end of the day, that is my kid's mother, or that is my ex-wife, and whatever. So we would never know until we do see those receipts if there was a late or just a reminder of, hey, whatever. Right. But I will say this: if there was any sort of advice that I would give at this point, they need to, I would even say it can be the mothers, even though I feel like Mel's mom seems to be mature enough. Miss Marlene, I don't know. I think that she's still kind of, even though she said that she will forever love Mel as her daughter, I just think that there needs to be, and I think that there needs to be somebody that is a respecter of both parties that can come into the middle and say, hey, you don't need to, it's for 6 months I'm on contract that I will be dealing with the communication with you and Mel, and then the whatever. When it comes to the kids, if you want to speak to the kids, this is your time. This is their phone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like there needs to be somebody that comes in to really to deal with both of them, because
and it seems like actually Marceau may have been that person for them because just in them at the reunion telling the story of how when Melody first found out that Martell was cheating, she kind of called Marceau to talk to him or whatever. So it seems like Marceau was that friend for them. Yeah. But I guess the whole comment that Martell made about having 20 women just kind of changed their relationship. Yeah. So, and then I guess in turn, Tisha and Melody having their fallout as well. I don't know. I don't think their relationship is the same. Like that, Marceau is someone that they both can lean on. But I don't know. Maybe they'll have to sit down and like think of the person in both of their lives that.
Yeah. And I mean, it might need to just honestly just be a stranger. Like I'm pretty sure
Like
they
a
have
40
like
minute
somebody. Yes, I'm pretty sure they got
therapist or
somebody in some field that's like, yeah, I'm the person that helps families when they're divorced and
Right.
whatever. Yeah, it's got to be somebody because this whole back and forth thing and yeah, I don't know. I don't really actually like seeing it play out. It's just a little messy for I won't say for no reason, but it's just like I don't know. Some things for the sake of entertainment, it's just like, man, but y'all have kids,
Yeah.
and so at the end of the day, like Martell, you don't want for your children to look at you and say, Dad, I don't really like you like that because of what you did to Mom, and then you definitely don't want Mel, your kids to be like, oh well, dang, we didn't even know, like,
Right.
what, you know what I'm saying? Because they're
I
getting
like
old
to do that, yeah, especially the daughter and the son.
And the son, yeah, they're getting older, and so it's like, you know, you just don't want that. Like I would never, and that's one thing that like me and my husband we always talk about. I was like, one thing is that if we were to ever just had to go on two separate ways, or our separate ways, you know, like that's like rule number one. We just don't talk bad about, you know, each other in front of our children or whatever. Well, we only have one, but you know, like, you know, like it's just, I don't know. There's just certain things, and I think that we have to remember that again for the sake of TV. We get it. It is a reality TV show. Yes, producers are looking for the juice, but I don't know. Some things just not worth it. Some things not worth the check. Some things not worth the clout. Some things are not worth, you know, these
Maybe
things.
the older kids could have went to do the reading, and then the smaller kids could have went with Melody.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, something could have happened.
Yeah. Or she could have left later that evening after the reading. It's a lot.
It is a lot. And again, I don't think that like we will really get to know like what was the behind the scenes of everything. But like I said, it starts with that manager, and that's what I don't understand. That if this was a business dealing, then that manager should have, unless Mel said, do not ever send your manager to call me about anything. Then you know, but. Do I see Mel?
Does Melody know Melanika? I mean, he said he's known her since high school. So
correct.
I wonder, was she like a family friend the whole time, or did he just kind of like reach back out to her since him and Melody, you know, didn't work out? So that would be interesting
to know like what their
Melody's
actual
thoughts on Melanika.
Yeah.
So okay, so I mean that pretty much was the full episode. It looks like the next episode will be a little more fiery.
Yes, for sure.
So Marcel and Louis finally have their sit down. It looks like, and you know, I don't know what's going on, if there's like a fire display in the back of Marcel, but his shirt looks like it's on fire. It looks like he got so heated in the moment that he caught fire. So we'll see what happens when the episode finally airs.
Yes.
And it looks like Tisha and Miss Kiki finally have their sit down. And, you know, it should be a good episode. But we'll be here to talk about it.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys tune in. And always make sure that you love up on that like button. And subscribe. And we will see you again next week. Peace. Bye.